in the locker room. This is before the game ended. Before the game ended. She comes out in the locker room and posts this. Like, what are we doing?
Sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, is anybody on this team going to stand up for Caitlin Clark? JC Sheldon grabbing Caitlin Clark all game, clawing at her. It's like, tonight was a brawl, folks. Tonight was a brawl, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, is anybody on this team going to stand up for... And Sophie Cunningham.
When Sophie Cunningham morphs into a one-woman wrecking crew and treats bodyguarding Caitlin Clark like her full-time WNBA job, things spiral fast. The court erupts into chaos, the Sun locker room turns tense, and Sophie starts dishing out smoke like there's a 2-for-1 sale. She didn't just respond, she unleashed, going full Avengers mode on her own squad. This wasn't just a feud. It was a fiery explosion of drama you couldn't script. Buckle up. This saga's hotter than anything Angel Reese ever posted on Twitter.
Start with the play that set off the entire night. So as you guys can see here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin Clark. She swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin Clark nudges her off because JC stays at her face. And then Tina Charles runs over and is kind of wagging her finger in Caitlin Clark's face. And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin.
The moment Sophie Cunningham clocked in, the whole WNBA should have taken out insurance. She wasn't there to play ball. She was on a mission. And that mission, personally protecting Caitlin Clark from every cheap shot and sneaky ambush like she was guarding royalty in the middle of a street brawl. Sophie showed up ready to handle everything.
To WNBA Fight Night, or as some people are saying, WNBA Raw. What a game that was. We had it all. We had basketball, we had fighting, we had blonde on blonde crime. Oh, such an epic. Oh, goodness. But at the end of the day, it resulted in an Indiana Fever W. 88-71, taking care of business.
Forget teammates. Sophie's operating like a Secret Service agent who moonlights as a demolition crew. You throw an elbow at Caitlin. Boom. Sophie materializes like a WW taggin, ready to wreck your shoe deal and realign your teeth in one motion. Bump Clark after the whistle. Congrats, you've just triggered the full fury of a certified enforcer with a jump shot and zero concern for your ego.
Let's start here. This is, of course, Sophie and Sheldon going down the floor. Sophie tries to wrap her up, and Sheldon gets to the floor, and all hell breaks loose. And Sophie said, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. We'll go. We'll go. So there's that. That, of course, was all a byproduct of this right here, folks. And I mean, when I tell you social media is setting the WNBA on fire right now, not in a good way, that's the
Sophie's not asking questions. She's delivering verdicts. The court turns into her courtroom, and the sentence is always the same. Maximum pressure. This isn't just protection, it's domination by proxy. She's mastered the perfectly timed shoulder check, the soul-snatching stare, and the try-me body language that makes even seasoned vets hesitate before daring to test the perimeter.
Of course, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on JC Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And JC Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
Sophie Cunningham doesn't wait for drama. She predicts it, like she's been secretly scrolling through the opponent's group chat all week. The moment there's even a hint of hostility, she's already inbound. Full Sophie mode isn't about post-game hugs or friendly warm-up handshakes. She's not here for buddy-buddy shoot-arounds. She's locked in on one mission. Touch Caitlin Clark, and you're flirting with disaster. She's the WNBA's walking alarm system, permanently set to high alert. While others practice mindfulness or bond over yoga playlists, Sophie's out here running silent background checks with her eyes. One suspicious move toward Clark, and you'd better have a medic on speed dial. This isn't protection, it's preemptive domination. Her presence alone shifts the energy. Sideline reporters get tense. Opponents tread carefully. Teammates silently thank the heavens she's on their side. This kind of intensity isn't taught. It's embedded in her DNA. She's not gliding into games with calm vibes and quotes about teamwork. She's stomping in like she's searching for any excuse to unleash controlled chaos. The league hasn't seen this kind of volatile loyalty since defenders played like nightclub bouncers. But Sophie's taken that old-school edge, painted it with a fresh layer of badassery, and added zero tolerance for even a hint of disrespect.
I feel good, and Sophie Cunningham put me out on a high note, folks. I didn't even say, calm down. Calm down, regroup. I didn't even say that. Let's get straight to the play. Everybody, the plays everybody is talking about. First off, Marina Mabrey body checking Caitlin Clark to the ground. JC Sheldon all over her. Riding her. Pokes Caitlin Clark in the eye. Oh, man. Caitlin Clark needs to start wearing goggles, folks. Caitlin Clark's going to need to start wearing goggles. Bumps up on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark says, "Get your hands off me." And then here comes Marina Mabrey. Boom! Exploding Caitlin Clark like a safety coming downhill in the NFL. There was no flop.
The WNBA hasn't seen this kind of unapologetic ride-or-die energy in years. Think Dennis Rodman with a girl boss twist and a personal vendetta against passive aggression. Sophie Cunningham doesn't just show up. She hurls herself into the heart of the chaos and dares it to push back harder. Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark didn't just enter the league as a rookie. She walked in wearing a target so massive, it deserves its own zip code. Rookie of the month. Try enemy of the month. Every single month. And not just from defenders, but entire rosters treating her like it was open season on the sharpshooting newcomer. Some opponents brought intensity. Others brought baggage. Petty grudges, ancient rivalries, and beefs that had nothing to do with Clark but got dumped on her anyway. They weren't trying to test her jump shot. They were gunning for her spirit. What they didn't count on was Sophie Cunningham, watching every play like a hawk that skipped brunch and was starving. One wrong move, and Sophie was ready to strike.
About a minute and a half into recording this reaction earlier, with 1 minute left, and all hell broke loose between JC Sheldon and Sophie Cunningham, and it is very clear the Indiana Fever, some of these girls on this team are finally fed up. Once again, WNBA, we're not talking about your basketball. We're talking about the WNBA, WWE Raw circus that you got going on right now. And we all know this incident with Sophie stems from the incident that was clearly not handled correctly by the WNBA and the referee.
They underestimated how fast one woman could turn an entire half-court into a no-go zone. Sophie Cunningham didn't just protect Caitlin Clark. She weaponized loyalty. While Caitlin dealt with the pressure of being the league's headline magnet, Sophie became the storm chaser. Spine of steel, memory sharper than her crossover, and zero tolerance for nonsense. This wasn't about stats or highlight reels. It was about making sure Clark didn't have to brace every time someone cocked an elbow. While the rest of the league plotted, whispered, and schemed, Sophie laced up with metaphorical brass knuckles and made it crystal clear. Caitlin may be the future, But her present is heavily protected. And here's what the league didn't see coming. Caitlin didn't walk in alone. She had Sophie. And Sophie's not your average bodyguard walking you to the car with a flashlight. No, Sophie clears the lot, flips the car for good measure, and personally detains anyone who even blinked funny. Because for every cheap shot Clark takes, Sophie delivers a full-blown televised reckoning, and it's never subtle.